Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the PM and the AM show. Well, PA in the NB. Never mind. Too much figuring out this early in the morning. And my
All right,
brain's
let
like
him take his shoes off. He'll figure it out.
7, 9, 23. Yeah, something like
Carry
that.
the cue.
Carry the cue. Yeah, the hamster's dead on the wheel. And guys, I just want to say welcome into the PM and the AM show. Filling in for Mike is my man Al Safiri. Thank God, because I needed a break from this guy. Now, Mike's a little under the weather, so we hope he gets better. And of course, I am back in action here, just coming in from Harrisburg and trying to do a lot of
boy, is his arms tired now.
Oh my gosh, Al, they hooked me up. I got to get the people.
What's in the back of their car?
Well, no, they gave me a room with a hot jacuzzi. It was beautiful. They loaded me up. My guy Frank, who was in there, visit here not too long ago, he hopped in with me. We were playing submarine.
All right, it's time to move on. I don't have my coffee to hold up. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready.
Sorry, wrong movie. It was like the Blue Oyster, 7 days a week. But anyway, yeah, let's get right into it. Al,
if it makes it easier, my middle name is Mike.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if it makes it easier for you.
I did the post game show yesterday with Matt, and I accidentally called him Mike. I insulted him by doing that.
Did he walk off?
I was surprised he didn't quit the network.
I would have.
Yeah.
I get it. It happens to the best of us.
Al, I named this show Heroes because this past weekend, two iconic.
Actually named it Legends, but let's not get caught up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they called they were fan favorites. So the Iverson gets a statue. The other, on Friday, beautiful statue, and then you get what's up, Sal, and then of course you get the Wayne train going into the Wall of Fame yesterday. So he retires as a Flyer. Al, what is it about these two guys? I mean, that kind of made. We all know about their stats and all that, but what makes these two guys Philly favorites?
Like anybody, I mean, there is plenty of guys that are iconic in the city, but never won it.
Yes.
They came close, but maybe they never won it. But it's the grit. It all comes back to the grit of the city. I mean, that's not to be cliche, because it is. Thanks, Times. But not to be cliche anyway, but it's kind of what it is. Guys who you knew who gave it their all, and Wayne said that in his press conference on Friday. I gave the city my all, and the '93 Phillies. There's a lot of guys that are still beloved in this town because of that. Allen Iverson is another one who close but no cigar, but it was how good he was. Some guys can be that good, and without winning a championship, you knew they were good for the city. And you knew that even though with AI, there was plenty of times it looked a little, dicey about if it's about him or about the city, but he's always embraced the city. But Wayne, I mean, here's a guy, he got the A on his chest for about 4 or 5 years and wore it to the end, right? Until he was traded away. But he was gritty. You knew he would be willing to scrap with anybody. He was definitely a glue guy. There's a term that they use a lot. And there is guys who are glue guys who maybe didn't win anything, but will always forever be part of this town. And you always wish they were on the team. There's certain times it's good to move on. Certain times in their careers, they knew it was good to move on. Maybe they had a chance to go win something somewhere else. But yeah, I mean, especially Wayne Simmonds. He was just a guy that I don't think anybody in this town really, I like Wayne Simmonds. He sucks. He's not that good. Everybody acts like he's so good. He is good. He wasn't the greatest,
right?
But he was good. But the one thing nobody can deny, no matter if you were a big fan of his or not a fan at all, the man gave it his all for this town.
Yeah, well, again, when we talk about these two guys, and when you're talking about the Wayne train, so for me, he was, like you said, he gave it his all, and you got to remember, at one point, for like a couple of years, people wanted to see him with the C. You remember, I'm pretty sure you've heard that conversation. They need to give to Wayne Simmonds. They need to give to Wayne Simmonds. They should put it on Wayne Simmonds for a while. They want to strip Giroux. They want to put, they want to make the Wayne train their captain. And Hey guys, Pat's already ready for pasta. Hey, Paul Day is. They got a nice win. Okay, Angry Anthony, go back to bed.
Hey, maybe you could take a little credit for this. Maybe a little something that woke them up.
Yeah, how about it? So, again, when I look at the Wayne train, just playing, again, he gave it his all, and just like the one game and the one highlight he had, I forgot who he knocked out, but I took my father-in-law to that game, and me and him, it was against Detroit Red Wings, and he just one punch, he laid that guy out, and, man, it was smooth, and like I say, some guys really embrace the city, and Iverson did that, like you said, you wanna question his off the court issues, whatever, but you can't deny it. He loved the city, he loved playing for the city, he gave it us all when it came game time, just, a talent like no other, and same thing with, Wayne Simmonds. I mean, the guy was, gritty, he was one of the drop the pucks with drop the gloves with anybody. He spent some time training with Bernard Hopkins. I mean, the guy was legit. So again, there was that one he made it to the All-Star game. I want to say, and quote me if I'm wrong, I want to say 2017, 2018. He went to the
Probably
All-Star game.
because he was traded in like 2019, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he went for the Flyers. He represent them out there. Then he got the MVP. I mean, he was like I said, he was real, man. He was again just gave it us all. Sal checking is it's player with the blue collar mentality that we love here. That we love here. Iverson small, but like a giant. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
that's actually a really good way of putting it, Sal. Like he did. He was the last real true superstar that the Sixers have had before Joel Embiid
Yeah,
called for what it is. But yeah, I mean, definitely the blue collar mentality, the guys who leave it out on the line, and you had no questions about that. There are certain guys in this town that you've never questioned that no matter what happened, they were going to do it for you. They were going to put it out there for you. They were going
yeah,
to try to win. They could be down 10-0 or up 10-0, and they put out the same effort. And Wayne was definitely one of those guys that did that. Steve checking in. You get a Gordie Howe Hattie on the regular, you're okay in this town. I thought Steve Downey could have been here as well, but never happened. Yeah, absolutely.
right.
The guy you don't train with a professional boxer if you're not looking to scrap, and in this town especially. Dive checking in. AI
Mhm.
was iconic because he was the opposite of selling out. His culture impact on the game is just immeasurable.
Yeah, it is. And again, he was. Could
Could
you
you
imagine?
imagine AI today in load management? And he made a joke about it. He said, "Yeah, you can load manage me in practice all you want."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, those 2 guys, man, they were just so beloved in this town. It's just like I said, we only had Wayne Train for a little while, but I mean, he just made such an impact on the Flyers culture. It was just
I mean, he was here for more than a little. I mean, 8 years.
was he here for 8 years?
Eight
I
years.
went, wow. I mean,
Here, I'll just give you. I had the quick stats right here for you. 8 years. He played in 584 games, 203 goals, 175 assists. He was the alternate captain, like I said earlier, from 2014, the
yeah.
2014-15 season until he was traded in 2019.
Yeah, I remember he was with the Kings first. But again, usually players want to retire where they start their careers, and he wanted to be here. He wanted to retire here. I mean, so like I said, the town embrace. One thing about this town, they embrace their players. I met Wayne Simmonds for a minute before a game and talked to him before his. Yeah, I met the Wayne train too at an autograph signing, and it was like my son met his hero. So,
There is I think a lot of people met him because I used to be at Modell's around the corner right from
right,
the studio here, and they used to every so often have a signing of one of the local sports teams players, and Wayne was there. And I can tell you, I've been to a lot of them over the years that when they were here, and the Wayne Simmonds one was one of the longer wrap around the building. I think Ryan Howard was there one time. Of course, that one
right,
was probably the biggest, but for Wayne Simmonds being where he wasn't a superstar. He was just a gritty star. Like that's my kind of thing. He
yeah.
was a grinder. Um, a guy who I say grinder, relax.
Oh,
Um, he was just a guy that you knew you were gonna get full effort from every day, every
yeah.
night. And he would be I wouldn't call him an enforcer, but kind of
Mm.
was that semi enforcer. Like you knew he would throw those gloves down
Yeah,
without a
so
thought.
Al, would you rank Wayne Train? I don't know if you can in a not skill or anything, just a beloved athlete off the top of your head that you could think of. does he rank top 20 for you as far as beloved athletes? We know Iverson's is up there. We know B-Dog is up there. I don't know,
Uh,
the
it
'08 Phillies.
it could be he could make it, but it might be a
uh,
tight race just because there is a good amount. Like if you're on just beloved overall, I mean, just
Nick Foles is up there.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if everybody was to sit here and kind of throw in there and you had a consensus, of course, Foles would make it, Kelsey would make it,
Yes.
um, AI would of course make it, Embiid would probably make it.
I got
You,
I
you,
gotta I gotta ask
I mean,
Matty B.
you got half the '93 Phillies who probably make it. You got Kruk, Morandini, you got Chase
Yeah, they
Utley,
got those
you got
93
Jimmy
Phils.
Rollins, you got Ryan Howard.
Yeah, he
I
might
mean,
not make
it
it.
starts to add up, but it'd definitely be top 20, but bottom part
Yeah,
of the
maybe
top
on the
20.
flyer part, but just
Yeah, I mean, if you had it separated by 5 of each, yeah, you could probably get close to it. But I mean, that's what makes him great. Like Wayne Simmonds has been gone now, 5 years from
yeah.
this town, and this team has gone through multiple changes since then. Not all good. None of them really that
No.
good. None really that good at all. Um, but the second they say he's going to come back and retire here, it's like
Yeah.
he never left.
No, right, and of course, like I said, just being in the moment. Yes, right. But like Al, let's get right into it. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. Real fast, cousin Steve checking in goes, Simmers right underneath the pocket somewhere. Yeah, I would agree with that. That AI statue ain't the answer.
It's more like a
Uh,
suggestion.
yeah, dude, that was. I
Like,
I get it, the crossover.
well, let me ask you a question. Is it because the statue is, and I hate to break it to people, like I ask this question because people, the kind of the gripe with this statue was it was small,
Right,
right? Um, and I was like, a statue can be something small that sits on top of your bureau,
right,
or a big one in front of the size of a building. You know
right.
what I mean? So I get the point of people are like, it seems a little tiny, but it's going inside, right? Aren't they putting it inside
Yes.
somewhere? So can't be that big. So I mean,
Well, I mean, I think it's going to be more outside because they got Barkley's outside, they got Will's outside, uh, Doc. So I mean, and again, it's more of those guys making a dunk or something. It's the crossover, and
yeah.
that's what he was notorious for.
Dive said, I cried less than a handful of sports related moments in my life, but I was sobbing like a Niners fan during AI's Hall of Fame speech. That's a really good point. Let's talk about that for a second. I know we want to move on. I
Yeah,
want to ask you a question because he brought that up and it made me kind of think of it right before then too.
it's
What
good.
was the moment in sports? Now you can take out. I'm going to just take off the board. Everybody, please chime in on this one.
Yes.
Take off the board. Winning championships.
Okay.
One was a moment that you legitimately got emotional. Maybe you're not a crier. I cried. I'll be honest. My coach taught me a long time ago. You're going to cry. It's an emotional sport. Cry.
Yeah. So is the Blue Oyster.
Different emotion, bro. It's a little bit different.
Just bite into the soap.
When was a moment in sports or a sports related moment, I should say, that made you
You know,
emotional?
you know what? It's winning the Super Bowl, and like I just thought I
Well, I
wouldn't.
said
Was
beside
besides, yeah,
outside
that's
that.
outside that. I mean, if there was,
We all got emotional on that
yeah, I
one.
mean,
You
it's
can't hold on. You couldn't get any good Eagles.
I mean, because not just that, because I think it's the story to the Super Bowl made it just so emotional because everyone doubted Nick Foles going toe to toe with the greatest, with the GOAT and outdoing him. Just made that story more epic. And, a backup quarterback going, it's the ultimate Rocky story that came for fruition and going against the Apollo Creed. No one saw, Rock,
I'll give you that. I mean, yeah, I know it's part of the championship run, but yeah, no. I mean, it was truly that underdog Rocky story that Philly has just
and
clasped onto, if you want to
and
call it
then
that.
if you want to really get emotional, it's the time, I never thought, I watched him my whole life. I was watching, Lindros and would be like to meet him. And there was a, meet and greet, whatever, at McGurk's. And I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, right, this is probably a phony. Like, there's a sign, and, everyone was just kind of doing their thing. And I said, let me take, I was with my son, Angelo, and I went in there. And, and I just shook his hand like a baby. I was just like, it was like that scene out of Celtic Pride. He's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Eric Lindros." I'm like, "Pat Bernard." Pat,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I was just like, "Wow!" Like I'm standing in front of the guy I watched my whole career. So
Marshawn said the Kawhi shot after I saw Joel crying, I got emotional. I think a lot of us did because
yeah,
you felt for the big man. I think that's like that. That was the kind of the turning point in the maturity level of Joel Embiid. Like
yeah, stop trolling people.
you knew it meant something to him a little bit more, and this team felt like they had a good chance of winning it all. Then, um, but yeah, that's not a good. That's not a bad one. Let's see, we have a couple of them here. I thought the statue would be bigger than AI. It's the statue looks like a kid statue. I didn't cry on the Kawhi shot. I was emotionless. I was numb. That was what Dive said.
Yeah.
We process grief differently. I did not cry when my dad passed. I did cry when Harry Decay died. Yeah. By the way,
Yes.
yesterday was the 15th anniversary of that.
Oh,
I'll tell you right now, this is one of those ones that it kind of made me think of it. That's why I asked the question when they asked earlier. I was driving. I was right around locally, not too far from the studio here. I was dropping my kid off at a swim practice or whatever it was at the local YMCA. I'm driving, and the news came down on the radio, and I literally had to pull off the side of the road. I got very emotional about it, and I didn't think I would have though. If you asked me before that, if Harry Kate died, would you get emotional? I would have been like, I don't know. Like I would, but think about it. At that point, 15 years ago, I was, or maybe I don't know. I'm trying to think, how old was I? 40 or 26 years old, I guess I was at that point.
yeah.
And I spent my whole life listening to Harry Kay.
Yes.
He became ingrained in me, and I didn't know that until that moment.
Well, no, it's funny you say that, Al, because it's at first, and when Mark Zumoff walked off from broadcasting, and I saw, who's this Kate Scott, right? She'll never be a Mark Zumoff. But you know what? Now I need Kate Scott and Allah. Like I don't want to listen no national point. When they do national games, I still go
No.
to the local channels to listen to Kate and Allah breakdowns. Because I think now she's done done a good job so far, and like I said, I just can't listen. No one else break it down to me.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, when he passed, that was one for me. I'll tell you, one I got duly emotional. This one was kind of a weird time because it was happening at the same time. There's two moments happening at the same time. It was the Brian Dawkins Hall of Fame speech
yeah,
and the Roy Halladay or Mrs. Halladay speech when they were celebrating the pass Roy Halladay when he passed not too long before that. And they were on simultaneously. It was pregame for the Phillies, and it was the Hall of Fame speech for the Hall of Fame of the NFL or the Football Hall of Fame. And I was just like a baby with my wife just handed me tissues. Like I got Dawkins going, because he opened up a lot, like things that
yeah,
we never knew about him, about contemplating suicide and things along those lines that you never really would have thought about. You thought this guy
yeah,
was just a ball of energy who just, nothing scared him. But in the beginning, his career, failure scared him, and
yeah.
that's kind of a crazy thing to think about it that way. Um, but yeah, that was one. Marshawn checking in here. Game 5 of the 2001 Finals, when Larry Brown took out AI, he looked hella sad. He didn't even shake anyone's hand except Fisher because he ran back to the locker room.
Wow. Yeah. So,
Do you feel Trey Turner is overrated or maybe bust? We'll get to that with the
yeah,
Phillies
yeah,
conversation shortly. I didn't cry, but got really sad for Joel and the team. Yeah. When Roy Halladay's wife gave a speech during the Hall of Fame ceremony, I was at the game in a complete wreck. Yeah, no, I was not at that game. Of course, I was I was watching it, flipping it back and forth at the time.
again, we kind of
What about when Cody finished the story?
like we mentioned about guys who just again, Roy Halladay not having a only been here for a few years, but he made such an impact because he was so good on the mound, so good. He was must watch. I remember traveling to DC just to go watch him pitch. It was just something unreal. I mean, Just the way he could command his pitches and, just when you saw the complete gains from him and everything, you felt that. You
Yeah.
felt it.
Oh yeah, you felt it. Yeah, you can get emotional at those moments too. Yeah, I mean, just because like somebody cries doesn't mean they're sad. Sometimes you
Yeah.
cry because you're overwhelmed by the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cried when Roy Halladay died, but I got mad when I found out he was on drugs, and now I'm just sad. So that's kind of what I was just talking about. Um, that there are moments where these guys are human. I think we forget that.
Yes, yes.
I met Roy Halladay back in 2010. I used to travel a lot before I had kids and everything. I would travel a lot and go to baseball games. We would set up like before we were able to deal with our great sponsors like Philly Sports Trips, and they didn't have too many things like that. Me and a few of my friends would get together and we would plan. We wanted to hit different stadiums.
Right.
So 2010, we made a plan and we wanted to hit St. Louis. We went there for that series, or 2 of the 3 games of the series. Took in St. Louis, went to like Anheuser-Busch. It was pretty cool. And then we drove about 4 hours to Kansas City. We watched the Royals take on the Indians at the time. But Roy Halladay, I stayed. We made sure we found out where they were staying.
Right.
We stayed in the same hotel. We partied with a lot of guys. The one morning between game 1 and 2, he's coming up from working out. I'm coming out of my room from drinking all night.
Right, right.
Both kind of on that same train at the time. Yeah, I was kidding.
Yeah.
But I said, hey, Roy, good luck today. Didn't blink an eye. It was almost
Wow.
if I wasn't there. And I mean, he's a tall guy.
Yeah.
I mean, but I ain't a little guy either. So it's not like he could miss me and I'm a loud mouth. So he can't not hear me. And I'm just like, I kind of look back. And at first second, I'm like, kind of like, what a douche. In the back of my head,
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
it's kind of like jerky. And before I could even finish the thought, I think was it Ryan Madsen? No, it wasn't Madsen. Who was it? Kendrick. I forget who it was. One of the other pitchers there said something like along the lines of, he's in the zone. No, he couldn't hear anything right now.
Wow.
He couldn't hear a bomb dropping on this building right now. He wouldn't hear it.
Right.
Like, so don't take offense to it. Like, he probably saw it in my face, like, really, dude? You can't say hi or thanks?
Right.
But he goes, no, he's like that with everybody. Like, he's in the zone. He threw 100,000 pitches in his head.
Right.
In the moment of time that me and you had this conversation is what he said exactly.
Wow.
I'm like, really? It's like that's how intense these guys are. And if you ever really want to read a good book, kind of make you a little emotional about it and more understanding. Bruce Harper here.
Yeah.
The Doc book tells you a lot about his like how like the dad built in the basement a place for him to pitch, and he would throw pitches all day and all night in there. They had buckets of baseballs, and he would throw pitch after pitch after pitch after pitch. So if it was raining out or wherever it was they were at, they didn't have to worry about the weather being bad or something like that. So he could keep throwing if it's not warm enough, too cold. He could go in this basement and he could pitch. And like there was a lot of pressure on him. There was a lot of pressure for him to perform. So the drug issue, and he got injured and he had to fight through a lot of pain, and he put a lot of that pressure on himself. So sometimes I know we don't want to hear it. It makes it sound really easy. Like we all know he died in that plane crash. Right. And then when they said they did the autopsy, there was like, I believe, morphine or other some sort of narcotic in it. But it's not. He's a drug addict.
Right.
He might be addicted to drugs, or he might have had a chemical addiction to drugs. But it wasn't that typical scene you see on the streets where people are trying to make things look bad in a movie or something like that. But it was a real emotional thing about him. But that it does kind of change your thoughts a little bit on it. Marshawn said, "Out crying right now." I am a little emotional, sure. Steve said, "I think Allah is the most underrated color guy in basketball. It's only a matter of time until he makes TNT if the politics allow it. But he is a bit biased." Oh yeah, I mean he's.
Of course,
but I think he's also playing up to his people. Like,
yes, he's talking for the Sixers fan.
Yeah, like I mean that is something. 2008 World Series. I was in Iraq in my office about 5 in the morning, all all alone. Very powerful moment. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was my first ever,
I mean,
interview to a championship. That was my
yeah.
first enlightening.
Yeah, if you think about it, like, I'm 41, so I was literally born technically, my first, if you wanna get technical, my first championship was the Sixers' last championship. I was only about a few months old at the
Right.
time, so I didn't really get a chance to really and after that, like, growing up, like, getting into my early teens, around between, 13 to 15 range, think about it, was what? The Phillies were the '93 Phillies, that was about it. So close to but no cigar. Sixers haven't come close yet until 2000. Won't come close, like, even
Yeah.
remotely close until 2001. The Eagles, not great. Starting to get, they just weren't great. Let's be honest. And hockey. That's why hockey was one of my first loves because I guess the hockey was a little bit more enjoyable with that Legion of Doom reign
Yes.
and all that, and Lindros era. So like that was it. And now Matty's a little older than us, but he was also in Iraq, so that does make a bigger difference too. But yeah, I mean, he might remember a couple championships, but maybe too young to fully embrace them. And I went to all those playoff games. I went to all those World Series games. 2008. It's almost like I knew it. I counted my tickets to that.
Really.
I went to 33
Yeah,
home games. That's not including the away games. I went to about 5 or 6 away games too,
right.
but 33 home games, and then went to every playoff World Series game. Being in that moment, even having to leave. I remember having to leave because of Game 5 was called because of the weather, and then coming back and just watch. Like I had this eerie feeling when that went down. I'm like, oh, this is the Philly sports gods not smiling upon us right now. Like I felt like this was going to be a way they were going to take it away from us. It was going to change momentum. But it
Yeah,
didn't.
it's same. And you know what? Like you broke down the timeline. So again, for me, I go in from '86 again. Got introduced to an early as he's getting ready to pack and get out of here. I got introduced to Charles Barkley. That was one of my first loves. And then it got the Legion of Boom. Uh, the Legion of Boom.
He does call us pukes every so
Yes,
often,
yes.
Dave.
The Legion of Doom.
Matty B during our meetings, he refers to us pukes the whole
Yes,
time.
yes.
So you might be pretty close.
Again, I got to enjoy the Legion of Doom with the Flyers, and that was like my first chance of getting excited for a Stanley Cup, thinking they're going to win it all. I got completely let down. They didn't even get a win in there, and then you get the 2001 Sixers. Again, taking Game 1 from the Lakers, I'm thinking, okay, we got a shot to finally win one. I'm going to see my first one through my teenage years. No, that didn't happen. '04 comes around with the Eagles, having the Patriots on the ropes a little bit, and then the letdown happens. And then, of course, the Phillies in '08. I'm thinking, okay, when's the other shoe going to drop? And it did. And they came and they go. But like you said, you saw the development of how good this team was going to be between, again, Holiday. I mean, not Holiday. I'm sorry. Chase, Jimmy, Ryan. You got Cole Hamels. I mean, that group, that core right there. And then they take a World Series, and then that was my first. I was like, wow, I've never experienced it.
Yeah, real quick, guys, remind you this brought to you by Sherry's Tickets. That's right, Sherry's Tickets, family owned and operated since 1946. Sports contrast leader, you name it, they got it. No hidden fees, Pat.
No,
Great prices, and you're not going to get bamboozled at checkout. And you and everybody listening and anybody not listening can save an additional 10% off by using that great promo code
EOP10.
That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Sports conscious leaders, you name it, they got it. No hidden fees, great prices, and you'll save an additional 10% off by using that great promo code.
EOP10.
That's right. EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. Let's hit a couple of these before we move on.
Okay.
Roy got hooked on opiates post-surgery. I remember the day in Chicago versus the Cubs when he said he was quote-unquote sick in the dead heat. That's the beginning of the end of his career. Anson, I cried when Jopa died because he was Joe Pa.
Yeah.
I was like, Joe Pa, who's Joe Pa? Joe Pa died because of a lot of PSU games. Too bad. Was a nice and good person because he always gave everyone a chance. He always loyal to people. Those people would never give a chance to. Roy never got hurt to truly enjoy, or never. Roy never got to truly enjoy his success. That's the life of a perfectionist. He was trying to make up for lost time. Um, Only Doc I acknowledge are Julius and Roy. Uh, he just Glenn Rivers to me. Yeah. Laugh aloud. I guess I'm spoiled as a Philly sports fan. Saw the Phillies win in '08 and the Eagles in 2017. No, I mean we all got to see that, but for the longest time, Marshawn, I don't know how old you are, so at 41, I'm kind of at this generational gap. Like
Yeah.
you know, I say as a 40-year-old, I got to kind of grow. Like I was talking to my kids about this the other day, and I'm not talking about just sports in general. I remember when there was no internet. I remember when there was phones with wires on the wall, pay
Yes.
phones. If you wanted to watch a movie that wasn't in the theaters, you had to go to Blockbuster Video. I was literally
Yeah.
explaining what Blockbuster Video was to my kids the other day. I was at a thing. A guy was wearing a shirt that said Blockbuster Video on it. My wife used to work there when she was younger.
Oh, really?
And she was, we were laughing with the guy, and my kids had no clue it was. But then I remember, as things go along. But same thing with sports. When I could really remember sports, when I got into sports, Philly sports for the most part were not good. I remember being with my family, like as long as we beat Dallas, I don't care what else happens
Yeah.
all season
That was
long.
our mentality for the longest.
Yeah, and just watching my family go nuts over one singular season win made no sense to me at that point. Then I got it, but yeah, in the early 2000s is when this thing started to turn. I mean, if you think about it, AI and the Sixers in '01, and then the Eagles started making the run in '04, and it was pretty good ever
All
since
right.
then. The Flyers kind of downward trajectory, except for like 2010.
2010 was they kind of resurged. They kind
Mhm.
of bounced back after, like you
And
said,
then, of
10 years.
course, the Phillies from
Yeah.
'07 to 10, 11 was, you know, really good.
Yes.
So, yeah, we went through cold
Some
and
hot and not.
good.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, again, it kind of started with '97 with the Legion of Doom. Uh, being hot for a while. The Flyers hockey was really good at the time. Then they kind of slipped off, but at that time, again, we experienced a lot of bad Sixer basketball. And then you had that '01 run, and then from there until we just got into Embiid, it's been a kind of a big gap of bad basketball.
Let's hit a couple of these comments. I know we got to move on, but
Yeah.
people
Yes.
seem like they like this topic, so
Yeah.
we'll stick with
Absolutely.
it for a second. I feel Scott Stevens made a dirty hit on Lindros today. He would be suspended for a very
Oh
long
yeah,
time.
Bruce.
Oh, it's a little. Listen, there was a while back. It might have been around 2010. There was a documentary on. I think it was on HBO. This is before HBO Max or HBO
Yeah.
streaming. It was just HBO Sports, which was I think part of CBS Sports. Um, they did a thing called the Broad Street Bullies,
Right.
and they talked about the Flyers. It was cool because I've only heard about the back-to-back Cup championships. My grandfather, my uncle, and stuff would tell me about it, and that's what they always would talk about. Guys, Bobby Clark, all those guys, and like I went and watched it, and they talked about. They showed you like it wasn't exactly this reason, but they showed that here's the NHL rule book before that run. Here's the NHL rule book after that run. It was like much bigger, much larger. How things change. It probably would have been suspended, but things do change.
It's funny you said that because you talk about those early Broad Street Bully days, and my dad always talked to me about them. Talked about how tough they were, how bad they were as far as fights and all that stuff. And then, so my dad, he called in a radio show once, and because somebody was praising about Palpabon, he goes talking about what a gamer is. My dad said, "You don't know what a gamer is." He said, "I saw Bobby Clark get sliced in the face with a skate and still play the game." So but those guys, they were tough, but, that was, again, prehistoric time, and, winning back-to-back championships. Still the only team in this city to do that as far as pro sports. So, um, it is what it is.
Matty B is the Hulk Hogan of the. Don't do that to us.
Oh, man,
Don't put
Matty.
that in his head. Don't put that. He's gonna tear his shirt
Does
off.
he have yellow underwear?
I
We
don't
hope
want.
not.
I don't. I want to find out. All right. You know what? Marshawn said this, and this was a good comp to what Wayne
Yeah.
Simmonds is to me.
Matt Stairs.
Matt Stairs.
Yeah.
Took one. It only took one swing of the bat for him, to be what Wayne
To
Simmonds
erupt
is.
the city.
But he was that kind of guy. He was a gritty guy. Like, it was funny. I remember he was a big hockey guy. People don't
Yeah, I
know that. Like,
remember.
he's Canadian, which is
Yes.
no shock, but he's a big hockey guy. But you know, if he had his druthers, he probably would have played hockey more than baseball. He just wasn't good enough to play hockey.
I remember that.
The hit on Lindros was legal. It made us all mad, but it was legal. He kept his elbows in, and 88 skated with his head down way too much. Al sounded like an old man back in the day. Ha ha ha. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Sal is a couple of years older than Sam, I guess, making him feel like an old man. Here's Matty B chiming in. I was at the Phillies 80 parade and the Sixers 83 parade. Being a Philly sports fans in the 80s, we thought championships were the norm. We were wrong. Yeah, like, I mean, the Sixers came close a few times. It took them a couple times to get over the hump finally in 83.
Right.
But they had a lot of chances between 80 and 85. The Phillies, yeah, they had good teams too, a couple chances as well. You know, not too undifferent than what the 2000s were for us. The Phillies had plenty of chances in 07 through 11. I mean, with Roy Halladay and the four aces we had, never were able to get over the hump with those guys.
Right.
You know, in 08 they were. The Eagles, you know, made it to the Super Bowl, but always were kind of chasing the dream, but never got to it again until, of course, 2017. And the Sixers in 2001, that was it. You know, so.
Well, just think about it too, Al. I mean, look, a couple years back, and not just your realm, the 4-for-4, but I remember the Union. A couple years back, it was 2 years back. They set TV ratings. They said it was the most TV ratings because I get it's a Philly sports, but I mean, they went up, they said, by 20% in their TV ratings because it was a Philly sports team that, was making a run. And I remember a couple guys hit me up, never watched soccer a day in their life, but just because it was a Philly team that being there, people were getting behind it. And, they just came up short too. And remember, last year or 2 years ago was a little kick to the leg there because you had the Union, you had the Eagles, and the Phillies just falling short. So.
Angry Ann wants to know did Bryce Harper try on his new glasses since he can't see the ball.
Wow.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a moment. And also, guys, I remind you that this episode is brought to you by. We go to phillysportstrips.com. I talked about going on trips as a kid or younger man. You too can go to phillysportstrips.com and sign up for these great trips. Here's a great one: Boston, June 12th to the 15th. Fenway Park, man. If you haven't been there, go there. It's one of those iconic places you got to get to. If you haven't been there, they also are going to go to Chicago to go to Wrigley, another iconic place.
Yeah.
Camden Yards is doing a bus trip down there, very inexpensive, and it's a day trip, so you don't have to take a whole few days off from work or anything like that. And it's Camden Yards is a beautiful place. Beautiful place. So you got to check it out. And they have international trips as well coming up. So, guys, you have to check it out. Go to phillysportstrips.com. And do you want to move on or do you want me to hit a couple more of these comments?
Sure. I mean, listen, this has been, this kind of like took over the airways a little bit. I mean,
give the people what they want, right?
You always got to give the people what they want.
Steve saying Pelly Lindbergh's car and Tim Kerr's shoulder kept the 80s from having more success.
Yeah.
Good point. Good morning, gents. Wings guaranteed a top 2 pick in the NL early.
Let's go.
Draft. Details at 11. That's right. Are they on 11 today?
Who, these guys?
Yeah.
I think so.
I don't have the schedule in front of me. That's why I wasn't sure. 90-94 was a rude Flyers awakening. Yep.
Yeah.
Marshawn saying the 4 aces was a letdown. It was.
It was.
We all thought it wasn't if we were going to win a championship or not. It was how many we were going to win.
Yeah. And
I mean, Marshawn, we all had aspirations of multiple championships at this point. Bruce Bochy deserves a Hall of Fame. The way he used the left-handed, right-handed pitchers against us in 2010. Yeah.
That's why he's one of the best in the manager now. I mean, he's still collecting championships on different teams.
Tears of joy for Paul Day, not caused by Pat Bernard. For those who don't know, because we keep making this joke on the air, and he might not know. So as you guys know, that Pat is a credentialed reporter for the Philadelphia Wings. He does cover for here at EOP Sports, one of the many hats that Pat Bernard wears here at EOP. He asked a simple question after a tough loss and said, you know, you're 1-8 at the time at home. And is there something different? Is it harder for you guys to perform in front of this Philly crowd? And after about a sentence or two into it, became very emotional.
Yeah, you want to talk
Uh,
about emotional, my
talking about
man.
crying, yeah.
And I got labeled as a bully.
Yeah, like, listen, and not trying to be a jerk, but Pat, it was a very, it wasn't a hard question.
No.
It wasn't you got him in somewhere where it should have hit him in the fields. I think it was just the moment, good or bad timing, how you want to slice it on your behalf with that question.
Yeah, I mean, listen, but other P reporters are saying, that was a great job on you. Hey, listen, I just felt like that's what the fans want to know, and that's what I try to provide.
The
So
Wings were the only Philly team that are truly against consistently, truly delivering in the '90s. Yeah, because they were big in the '90s. People don't know that. I believe if I heard the Wings, was it the Wings'
or
first?
the kicks.
No. It was the Wings' inaugural game was during one of the championship games, one of the Stanley Cup games for one of the two championships in '75 or '76. Let's see. I don't know these names, but these guys are all Wings. I know that.
Yeah, hey,
Marichek. I know Dallas Ulick. That's what I know. Berge, Finneran,
yeah. This is, like I said, I was just
and
a
the
little.
Gates. That's the brothers, the Gates brother, right? Yes. All right, maybe I knew a little bit more than I thought.
Oh, there you go.
Listening to well, Gary and the boys over it all across all the time. I guess I picked up on a couple things.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Look at you.
All right, so I guess we can move on from this topic. So let's transition.
Yeah. Listen, guys. I mean, Al, I don't know how you want to slice this. The Flyers all of a sudden found a W. In their last couple of games. They lost 9 out of 10, but now they've resurged themselves. They won 2 straight, beating the Rangers 4-1, then shutting out the Devils yesterday on a 1-0 win. Of course, the Flyers doing the Flyers things. Right at the beginning of the game, they lost. I mean, they just could not score they get the 2-man advantage power play. They just came up small, doing the Flyers thing, just being just unsuccessful on the power plays. But then in the second period, Travis Konecny gets, a breakaway, shorthanded goal, snipes it in there. The Flyers are up 1-0. After that, Sam Harrison stopped 20 out of 20 goals. So in the last 48 hours, Sam Harrison has stopped 44 out of 44 shots on net. He's been playing well. The defense in front of him is playing well. Nick Seeler, again, just being the body armor for Sam Harrison. Again, this Flyers team is starting to click. But again,
Too little, too late.
Too little, too late. And
Well,
look,
not too late.
they
but pretty
still
close.
have an opportunity to make the playoffs.
They're
but
fighter's chance.
you need to rub a genie's lamp and get some magic, because in order to do that, you need the Red Wings to come up short against the Montreal Canadiens. You need you need a lot of help. You need the Penguins not to lose twice, because they got the Islanders and you got the Predators, and then you need us to beat the Capitals. So it's not going to be easy. So, Al, if they do not make it, think about it. Are you going to be unsatisfied?
No, me and Matty B talked about this, and I keep, God, man, I've done this too often. I gave him a lot of credit for this one. We were doing a post game together a couple of games back, when they lost, and he asked me, like, if he went back in time, talked to me in July and August before this, and said, listen, knowing how bad this team could be, and we all thought they were going to go tank, tank, tank,
Yeah,
tank.
yeah.
If he came and told me, listen, this team would be relevant in the playoff picture pretty much all the way up into the end, to almost the last game of the season, uh, showing some fight, showing some progress, would you be happy? And I said, I have to say yes to that, because normally, I'm in it to win it, but what did I say at the beginning of the season? All I want to see is these young guys get better and find out who's going to be part of the future or not. Like, I want to see guys, these young talent start coming up and getting a chance, and it's kind of what happened. We got what we needed out of it. We kind of saw what we need to see from some savvy vets, and when we saw what we needed to see from some guys who could be more long term pieces to hopefully the puzzle of another cup
Yeah,
run.
So, like, I'm a little disappointed. It's just because it's
Well,
just
dude, you had them winning you had them going to the Stanley Cup. We hate to break it to you. We had to have you pump your brakes a few dozen
no.
times.
I mean, because like I said, if this team was just being a bottom feeder and they made some kind of spurts here and there, I'd be like, okay, this is. But for you to be relevant and being in the playoff picture all up until 2 weeks ago, and then you bottom out against bottom feeders again, that the one that punched everyone in the belly. We know the Montreal Canadiens are not doing anything with their career, with their stature, and you get waffled a 9-3 loss. I mean, they didn't even bother to show up. I mean, that to me is frustrating, and that was kinda like the nail in your coffin to your, season, and it's just like, it's been nice to see, you're like, "Okay, they still have a shot," but ultimately, this team doesn't have a shot to make the playoffs. I mean, you're wishing you're going to your genie lamp, and you're making 3 wishes for them to get in, and it's just too much right now. I mean, you were a lock-in. We all thought we were gonna get playoff hockey here. I remember I'm just being in that press box talking, at the beginning of March, everyone was thinking, "Okay, we're gonna have a playoff hockey year," and it's just like, and then was the last time I covered the Wings. Me and Bill Meltzer were just talking about just like, and it's just like, what happened? And then we talked about it. It's just like if they lose to Chicago, they don't deserve to be in there. And like, again, you lost to Chicago, you lost to Buffalo. You're losing all these teams that you should have beat. And it was just like, what happened? I mean, and the week prior to that, you're competing against the Rangers, you're beating Boston, you're beating the upper teams of the East, and then you bottom them out. And it's just,
Well,
and I don't want to hear about fatigue. I mean,
I'm not going to not you're going to hear about it, but it's not. I'm not going with physical fatigue. I think it all. I think the dust settled. I hate to break it to you in that case.
well,
Like this team overachieved, right? And when you over anything, you overdrive your car, you overdo it at work. What happens?
right,
You burn out.
right,
And this team was able to hold their own against some really good teams. Um, maybe got a little, maybe gave the other team some ideas on how to beat them. We saw me and Matty B were doing the post game. I forget we did a couple together recently. I'm trying to remember which exact game it was, but were we? I think it was the Canadians game. I think it's the one you were talking about.
yeah,
Maybe it was that one. I'm not sure. But they had like 4, 5, 6 goals in that one. So I think
yeah,
it was one that had a lot of goals they let up, and where you could almost take all the goals and layer them over the top of each other, and they looked almost carbon copy to each other
yeah.
because they found out, oh, Sam Harrison can't see through traffic. Sam Harrison um, can't deal with off
Well,
the left glove side issues. Just they there is there's a lot of holes in this team, and they were able to plug them up enough. And I honestly think that they put it all with that. And I'm not sitting there saying they got comfortable in it. I just think they got beat down.
Well, that is, and again, you gotta remember, this is year 1 for him, so he's gonna go through his growing pains, and what
But
made him better.
that's my point. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's a
what
good
made
thing.
him better, and unfortunately, and I'm not gonna get too into it, and me and Matt B were talking about it, it's the whole Carter Hart situation. That whole
I
thing.
don't think that was the whole situation, but
Yeah, but I
that
mean,
was definitely a big problem.
that was, that what made Carter Hart play better because he knew there was a goalie behind him that was kind of a runners up for his job, so that forced him to play well. But after that, once Sam Harrison became the guy, that was a lot of weight on a goalie's shoulders. And then, of course, obviously, the Flyers front office don't have no feelings for Samstrom, and then they try to bring in another kid in here. Again, they want base off. Okay, he's a 6'7" monster who's going to be a tower like Anthony Stolarz of the Florida Panthers. It was going to be able, stop some goals. And again, he got introduced to the NHL real quick.
Yeah, he never played a lick of NHL hockey again. I mean,
Yeah,
even if he came out and was just lights out stellar, I'm not sitting there telling you he's our new elite goalie going forward because even if from the time he got here to the end of the season, if they were just winning games because nobody get the puck past them,
right.
listen, we'd all be excited about it, but that's still too much of a small sample size. So I mean that's the old spaghetti routine: throw it against the wall and see if it sticks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pasta Sunday for you, so you
Oh
should know what
yes,
I'm
it
talking
is.
about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Steve Simon, I have concerns. Mishkov ain't as advertised. Seriously, let's make sure one of these goalies prospects become elite. Well, they got a lot of them. Let's hope that the odds are with them in that one.
Yeah.
We played teams that didn't make us like it didn't take us lightly. It seemed. Now, listen. Again, not excuse making here, but you play teams who are either already out of it, who now are playing spoiler. They don't want to see the Flyers be that darling team.
Right.
So they're gonna play. They played us a little harder than we probably expected. But this team just kind of
It's
quote unquote crapped out. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
they bottom out, and unfortunately, it's what happened. So, I mean, listen, like me and Matt were talking about yesterday, it is a win-win situation for the Flyers because I made the joke yesterday. I said this is going to be the big Hollywood story. Flyers will somehow sneak into this playoffs. I said then the year because this year their names come off the cup. Sam Harrison's going to be a lightning in a bottle. They're going to somehow get past the Rangers, win the cup with what they got now. And then Matt said,
let me tell you,
let's lay off the drugs.
If they somehow sneak in the playoffs some way, like,
yes,
and I know it's going to, right now, I think the chances are, and this, I don't know how up to date this is. This, I think, was as of last night. The Flyers, if they win against the Capitals, and the Penguins lost last night, which I believe they did.
They did.
And one of their last two one of their last two in regulation.
Yeah,
they don't get a point on anything, so they have to win. They have to
lose one of the last two.
Lose the next two games.
Right.
The Wings lose one of the last two in regulation, and the Caps have to lose the Bruins.
And they got so I mean, again, it's a lot of hope and prayer, a lot of hope and prayer. And again, the Red Wings got the Montreal Canadiens back.
Well, first and foremost, the Flyers must win.
Yeah.
Before all that goes down, first and foremost, the Flyers must win.
Yeah. So look, again, who would have thought that this team, like you said, from the get-go, would have gave you expectations?
This is a good point that Muffler brings up here. He goes, bone to pick. Torch says he needs to be better as a coach to get the Flyers to improve, and fans love it. But when Topper, Ciani, or Paul Day say the same thing, they rip to shreds by the fans. Make it make sense. I'll make it very easy for you. Look at Pat Bernard. Flip-flop. It's all about the aspirations. That's really what the difference is. The Flyers had no aspirations of and personality. Let's talk about that for a second too. There's a little bit of that plays into it. But it's the aspirations. Nobody had cup aspirations for this team coming into it.
Yeah.
This year we had Super Bowl and we have World Series aspirations. And the Eagles coming out to a 10-1 start after doing that the year before and then falling completely on their face. It didn't matter what Nick Sirianni did.
And
we could have video proof of people sabotaging him and people would still rip him apart. Same thing with Topper.
Yeah, and to battle against Paul Day, you had a team on paper that said that you were going to go to the playoffs, that you were a playoff team with a guy who was Mitch Jones was a lightning rod. And
now you're excited for having top 2 draft picks.
Yeah, right. So you now you go from wanting to make the playoffs to now nothing.
Angry I said, remember though, Briere said it's a rebuilding process. It's going to take time to get good. The problem is the fans are used to winning right away. And then Carter Hart situation and other problems. The Flyers are actually having a good season, even though they didn't make the playoffs, especially having a shitty record last year. Trust the Flyers process. Thank you, Ant. And that's Angry Ant being not angry for a moment.
Yes.
I love him about it. Again, it's the aspirations. They had a 4% chance of making the playoffs, the Flyers, this year. The fact that they're even in the playoff discussion still is, after losing 8 straight games, is a big deal.
Right.
So that's your difference. That's where it settles in. Is
I just was hoping, for those guys, a couple of those guys get some playoff atmosphere, but it is what it is. But like Steve said last night, though, I mean, you had 96 points. That was just coughed away. That's the hard part for me. It's just, damn.
Seems like it's the 2008 Eagles' chances. They have things had to go their way. Teams had to lose. Bad teams had to win against good teams, and they still won. A lot like the 2010 Flyers run. I mean, they had to win against the Rangers, and a couple other things had to fall into place.
Yeah.
And they ended up going into playoffs and making a run. So it is possible. It is very possible. A little less likely with this team, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
It's the delivery, Mike. Torts comes across more consistently and sincerely as well. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That the personality plays into it, Steve. I mean, the big thing is the personality is. Um,
But at least,
I mean, Topper's more of that even keeled guy, and a lot of people didn't believe he should have the job. He got the job
and
because of the whole. I'm
it,
completely blanking on his name. Who was our previous manager? Oh, Joe Girardi.
right.
Completely blanked out for a second. Forgettable. But he's been there.
Right.
He's been doing it. And the other thing is baseball's tough, man. It's 162 games, and we put every game under a microcosm until it passes.
Right. And
Because like right now, like you could have been upset with that first or not last night, but the night before it's a Pirates game, right? But they win last night and they win tonight.
even if
They win today and win the series. You forget about that.
right, and even if the season is over for the Flyers, it's still now get you more buzz for next year. And like you
Yeah,
said,
and next year's going to have a lot more aspirations too.
right?
That's where things are going to start to change.
So and to your point though, I mean, I can speak for him even though he's not here. Me and him were the first two guys when you said Tortorella was coming to this squad. We were putting up our X sign in front of you. We were in New Jersey saying no, please no. But no, Torts is he's matured himself as a head coach. He's kind of taken step by step. But one thing he did say was going to happen. He was going to change the culture of how the Flyers thought. And I don't know exactly what it meant. I thought this was going to a cliche kind of, give the Flyer fans what they want to hear. But no, I think he's done a phenomenal job with the team. I think, and and again, you made a captain, then you bench him for not playing, and everyone got a little upset because it's Coots. But listen, the guy only had one goal in X amount of games, so he has every right to get benched. And again,
And either way,
no one's above the
and
bench.
not to get into it either. I agree with you. Nobody's above the bench. But there is good points on both sides if you agree or disagree with the benching of your captain.
Right.
There is good points to both sides.
Right.
I can see the thought process.
Right.
About not benching your captain because that can hurt your leadership with him. That can hurt people believing in him as your captain. But at the same time, if he's playing bad, he should have the same punishments
as everybody else.
As everyone else. So it
goes both ways. And then, like I said, you get the playmaking though from this year though. Travis Konecny, Owen Tippett, who's been your lightning rod. You had a Nick Sealer, pretty much was your shield, was your body armor this year. Really put his body on the line. Why you were so successful this year was because of Nick Sealer. So you had that. There was a bunch of good things from this year. But again, you really need a goalie when it comes down to things, and you've seen it. If they had a little bit of a better goalie, better of a goalie situation, that kind of and that's what happened. The goalie situation fell in front of them. They weren't expecting it. It kind of reached the surface, and things happened. So, but other than that, man,
real quick, I want to remind you guys that this is brought to you by CherryInjuryLaw.com. David R. Cherry is the man with the plan. If you get hurt at work, in a car accident, personal injury, or criminal law, you go to David R. Cherry at CherryInjuryLaw.com or simply call David 610-565-0300. Again, workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, CherryInjuryLaw.com or call Dave directly at 610-565-0300.
Yeah. So listen, guys, that was our Flyers conversation. Thanks, David R. Cherry. But Al, again, we are running out of time. Sixers are now heading into the playoffs. Friday night, big man playing, having a great game, but then his knee buckles in the first half. Tighten up a lot of sphincters. Me, Sean, I mean, the whole crew was walking around in a wedgie. But then he comes back out. He kind of, he played his game, but, he was still limping around. So today is the last game of the regular season. Al, do you rest Embiid or do you go all in and get that fifth or sixth seed?
No, you go in. You need that because you get the more rest from not being in that play-in tournament.
Yeah, but I mean, with Joel Embiid there, I'm not worried about a play-in tournament.
I get that, but you listen. There's still plenty of Joel Embiid moments to get like some other weird orbital fracture or something. Yeah. So listen, I was on the record saying I think they should have shut it down. I'm hoping they didn't rush him back. We saw him get a little tweak the other night.
Yeah.
I worry about longevity with him,
Yes.
and that's why I said I was okay with packing in the season and letting him completely heal and rehab and be ready for next year. But I have to admit, this team has been the best team in the NBA for the most
I
part
said that, and I
since
told
he's back. I you know, but I still believe I'm holding my breath more than ever. We used
yes.
to hold our breath anytime he would fall to the ground. Then we kind of started not doing that as much. Now I'm doing it again. And a programming reminder, Matty B's here. I wanted to kind of mention this before we move on. Don't forget to tune in to Clear the Ice tonight. That's you and Matty B. Run
Tuesday.
every Tuesday. I mean, I'm sorry.
The
Uh,
Mayfair Mafia.
for Mayfair Mafia will close out the season.
Me and Matt should do a remote from Montezini's. Gets a good pizza spot.
I've heard. Thank you. You don't have to explain the
Oh.
geography to me. Yes, but there will be Clear the Ice after the season's over because we're going to do some 2024 NHL draft coverage new to EOP here. Very excited about that. We'll talk about it shortly. But thank you, Matty B, for reminding me on the
Yeah,
programming
you
direction.
go to Montezini's, get a good pizza, and then you go to West Coast Video and play tag. And me and my buddies would used to play tag in the back part where the exit movies are at.
I made a bet Sixers winning the ECF, and going to the finals, and everyone thought I was crazy. Like for this year, like when did you make that bet? Did you make a bet recently when he went down, before he went down, after he went down?
Listen,
I want to know when that bet was made. There got to be some context that said bet.
yeah, I mean, like I said though, it, I would say if you have a good lead today, if you're up by 20, it's middle of the third or late in the third. Rest them. Get what you can at your bench. Let them play. Let them feel the void. Get Mo Bamba, whatever. Make it his last day. Whatever you can. Just let those guys play well, and that's it. And then, of course, and go on from there and rack up that 60 because that's what we need. And we, of course, I think they need help too. They need Indiana to lose to Atlanta, Miami to lose. So it's going to be yes.
Yeah, West Coast Video. I remember that because when we were kids,
Yes, we did, Dives.
um,
You and I could play tag in the back where the dirty moves are.
I was just about to say, except for that weird part about playing tag. That's why we used to go to West Coast Videos. You would try to sneak in behind the curtain where they had all the dirty movies.
Yeah.
I
Tom
remember
Ding
that.
Dong was back there.
And that's all for today, people. Thank you for joining us. It was nice knowing Pat Bernard. Last day of EOP here.
So, but no, anyway, though, the 76ers, though, I just want to make sure I got Joel Embiid safe for the playoffs. I don't care about the play-in. I think that's going to be a breeze. Like you said, everyone gets tight. I think I don't know, but this team though, I like it. They need better perimeter shooting, but you got an aggressive Kelly Oubre, and with him being aggressive, him getting rebounds, he's averaging like 20 points a game. He's looked really, really sharp. I like his game. Of course, you saw Maxey on Friday, kind of being a playmaker from his parents, and again, he was aggressive. Joel Embiid and Maxey had 9 3-pointers combined. They were lighting it from the perimeter. So
they're definitely feeling that Bash Brothers routine.
Yeah,
like they're feeding off each other. I guess is a good way of putting it. Like they really are feeding off each other. Let's be honest. When Embiid went down, Sixers basketball was hard to watch. It was not a good product.
Because
for all those, and he's not here today. For all those Embiid,
because the
trade Embiid guys,
it was easy for the opposing defense just to focus on Maxey and whatever Kelly Oubre would dish out. But other than that, now you got the big man. Now you got to worry about Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre is starting to shoot better from the perimeter. You got a Maxey who's been, again, hits the pullback, hits the perimeters. Shots. He's been dangerous.
Joel Embiid makes everybody around him better. It's just that's the easiest way of putting it. Because even if you as a player on the team did not feed off of Joel, your play gets better because they have to put more resources on Joel. When Joel wasn't in there, right? All you had to do was shut down Maxey.
Right.
And then just limit everybody else. And that's what they did. That's why it was hard for them to even beat bad teams. I mean, it's not like Joel's not here and they were still beating the really bad teams. They would beat a couple teams here and there. They had a couple wins that kept them afloat when he wasn't here. But there was games that they should have won even without Joel.
Yes.
And they didn't.
No, and like I said, it's tough. Now you got Kyle Lowry here. You need only thing I'd say that needs to get a little better is Buddy Hield off the bench. He needs to shoot a little better.
Good God, I'm glad I'm sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I got some medicine for you.
Oh
but anyway,
Angry Ants, good point here to something came up this week. Congrats on Ricky Council Jr. For the
to get the extension.
for a new contract. Laugh allowed Pat name dropping West Coast video next to Pat will name drop Pizza Hut. Yo, dude, they were a block away from each other.
Yes.
Both gave me the equal same amount of diarrhea. Don't ask me
why.
why.
It both caused me to play with grease.
God. Kelly Oubre is the X factor for this Sixers.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Kelly Oubre is that Wayne Simmonds guy. I hate coming back to it, but gritty, just grind it out. Like even when he's missing,
he's really aggressive in the paint.
He's aggressive, and when he misses 20 shots, he will take 21.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that they start missing 3-4 shots, they're going to stop.
Right.
And we see him do it. We see him have like really bad first or second quarters,
and he gets you rebounds,
and then he comes out and has amazing second halves. Like he does that.
Friday, he was just a rebound away from a double. Like that's how good he's been playing. Can't wait.
You can't wall off Maxey with Joe on the floor. Yeah, that's my point. Like you can't shut down one guy and not leave another guy completely open.
And no, you can't talk about Joe. You're out. You're out. You want him gone? You're out. You should be traded.
Listen,
I love Mike.
Listen, you just got me thrown off. I was about to tell you. That's a good point. But like, one thing I have to say about Joel Embiid, and it's been all season long, but definitely seeing it again right now, and maybe the injury kind of helped a little bit.
I said that
in a weird way, not like giving him time to rest, but I'm saying like his passing is even better.
Yes,
than ever.
Remember last
because
week?
like he doesn't have like he's not trying to hurt himself. He's like, let the other guys do the work. I don't care if they get the 30 points and I only get.
Just let me make my shots.
I only get my 25 points as long as it's getting done and we're winning. I don't think it matters. And him just facilitating the ball has been
like I said, a 75% Joel Embiid is still better what the rest of the NBA throws at you. It's still with the opposing defense. They can't slow him down. He can still hit a pullback from the perimeter, from in the paint. He's still going to clog the lane. It's, 3 defenders are going to come at him. That leaves everybody else open.
He's averaging 20 points per game. I didn't know that in the last couple of months. Yeah. You're easily the third best player. Easily. Kelly Oubre. Easily. Yeah. I liked him since the second they got him here. I was loving that one. I was high on him like when they brought D'Anthony Melton in. And it's good to see D-Melt back, too, because I didn't think he was coming back.
No, I didn't think so.
I thought
he only played for 5 minutes, but still. Here calls Ricky Cancel, playoff X Factor number 2. Yeah.
Hey, could be. We need Ricky to take some minutes away from Tobias as soon as possible.
He's true. That's true.
Only one more regular season game with Tobias in a Sixers uniform today is a great day. Speaking of today is a great day. It is today. And that's a 1:00 game, right?
Yeah, it's 1:00.
Yeah, so you got Sixers at 1 against the Nets, and Dives, I believe, is on the call there.
Yeah, it dies with Mitchie, I think.
I'm not exactly. Yeah, I'll let you. Once Dives chime in who's on the post game with you today, so it'll be the last regular season.
Listen, and we
get processed.
Here we have Sixers at 1, we have the Phillies at 1:30, and then we have the Union at 2:30 on regular FS1. So I know they've been on Apple, so you get them on a national TV base. So there you go.
Passing is better because Harden isn't stagnating everyone not involved in the 2-man game. It's good point. Pat, you forget to name drop Roy Rogers. Oh, don't get me started on Roy.
They got him on the turnpike.
I was going to say, you probably where you work, you see it more than we do anymore. They're usually on the rest stops.
Yeah, and I'm at a rest stop.
Yeah, Pat's usually in the bathrooms at the rest stops a lot. It's kind of his normal stopping.
It's my highway hangout.
Yeah, right. Him and a lot of his other buddies.
Yeah. That's only meant for truckers.
Yes. If you look him up online, he's known as Glory Hole Pat.
Yeah, Glory Gary.
Yeah. But Roy Rogers getting Old Country Buffet, man. That was the thing when I was a kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Me and my handle of Jack Daniels are both in for today.
Yes. His hand on the clicker.
If Toby goes going somewhere and wins Finals MVP, I'll puke.
Never gonna happen.
No, we kept. Yeah. I think Dives got to that before you could say it.
So Al, like I said, I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but one more little bit. Let's talk about the Phils.
Real quick before we do, I want to remind you guys that I'll have more information coming forward. But as we mentioned last Sunday, where were we? We at the Streetlight Kitchen and Bar.
Oh, we're back.
We're back on May 11th. It's a Saturday.
Right before Mother's Day.
Saturday before Mother's Day. Let me tell you something, because I'm doing this. It's actually kind of two birds, one stone. My wife is coming, and a bunch of her friends. They always go out for Mother's Day brunch.
Right.
They like to do it on Saturday now because Sunday, the family wants to do things with them and all that stuff. So, they have brunch. Starts at 11. I'm gonna have more information. Go to Edge of Philly on Facebook. The event page will be in there. I'll also be putting up on all the other social media. I have the brunch menu right here. I'm going to add it to the social media. It's in my folder. Don't look. The brunch isn't here.
Oh,
just the menu. Pat, if you can't see him on the screen right now, no, he looked like a bird. His neck just like snapped back and forth
like a velociraptor.
Yeah, like he was ready to pounce, but the brunch isn't in house. So it's there May 11th, and then you can stick around. We're gonna probably be out on that beautiful patio with a big screen TV and the nice warm weather. It's May 11th. It's right before Mother's Day. Bring mom out, bring the wife out, bring your friends out. Let them have a good time. Let them drink and all that, and come hang out with us. And there'll be another opportunity to win some Phillies tickets again.
Nice.
We had a great winner last time. And then you could also get another chance to win some great ticket opportunity as well. Come by Streetlight Kitchen and Bar, 5400 Fern Boulevard, Drexel Hill, PA. It's the Holiday Inn and Suites at the Drexel Event Center. So you go in through the Holiday Inn. The place is huge. It's beautiful. It's an actually beautiful place.
It is. It is very nice.
So check it out. Streetlight Kitchen Bar, May 11th is also they are our new sponsors to the Fightins Fund.
There you go. And look, it is a very good, beautiful spot. But speaking of the Phils, Al, some up and downs in this series. However, yesterday, a walk-off. A walk-off.
You're welcome, Steve.
Yes. A walk-off by Nicky Cass. What a game yesterday. What a game. The Pirates get on the scoreboard first, and then but the Phils just came right back. I mean, Schwarber goes deep to center. Trey Turner falls up with a double. Nick gets, drives in a run. Rojas, with a nice little bunt, it gets you, right to first because of his speed. And I mean, this team.
Why doesn't he do that more often?
Yeah.
Drives me nuts, but keep going.
He can't hit worth a lick, but
no, I mean, I think he can hit. I don't know. I would like to see him do it more often. He just has the ability to do so.
O'Neill Cruz goes deep to left. They would take the lead 3-2. And then Alec Bohm would tie up the game with his nice little hit.
That's twice now this year, by the way, that they walk the guy to get to the next guy and pay dearly for it.
Yeah.
They did that to Harper.
With Remuto,
and then they did that now with Harper.
Whoa. To Bohm. And again,
to Bohm. I'm sorry, Bohm to Castellanos.
You're right. And Castellanos coming up huge. And, that was your walk-off. So, now the Phils are 8-7.
Only a game behind in the I know it's really weird to say this way. Only a game behind the division.
And right, and like a lot of people are like, I've seen on social media, look out for the Pirates. Like Pirates always play well in April, then they fizzle out.
Listen, Pirates were really good last year too. They had a really good start last year too. This team, they have a good young team, a good young core.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're not going to be good, but like let's just pump the brakes just because. Listen, you can't win. You can't win the season in April, but you can sure as hell lose it. So
yeah,
that's the important
part. Look at where the Marlins at now. Only 3 wins, 12 losses.
Mets are even worse off, right now. So it's it's for the taking. And now the injury to Spencer Strider makes a bit of a difference. Have Turner and Castellanos turn the corner? Dives wants to know. My answer to that question is too early to say.
Yeah,
but this is a streaky team. This team is a streaky team.
Yes.
It will streak constantly.
Like my underwear.
It'll streak. I was actually going to say streak like Pat after a night at the Blue Oyster, but yeah, that one too.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I mean, but this could be the beginning of a turn in the situation. And Sal actually said here, you saw the reaction of Cassie. A weight was lifted off his shoulders.
Yes. It's been hitting pretty good though, and this might ring Matty B's ears. Schwarber. It's under the radar.
3 for 3 yesterday.
Yeah.
2 singles, a home run to start the game off, as well as 2 walks. He's on base the entire time, the entire night. I even said during the post game, I was on the call last night. I said, I wonder before teams, if he keeps hitting like this, will teams start intentionally walking him, even in the first few innings of the game,
We'll see.
because he's not as much of a danger on the base path as somebody else would
Right.
be. And then on top of the fact is, you're not going to pull Schwarber like you would in maybe the 7th, 8th, or
Right.
9th. So it'll be interesting to see how they play that.
It's interesting. It's good. Like I said, they've been streaky. Again, you saw
Angry Ant does not like Nick Castellanos. I'm just going to point this out before you read this comment.
Uh.
Cass yesterday finally did something. Now back to reality. Cass will do nothing for the rest of the season, and people are still praising him. Again, you praise him for that game. He did well yesterday.
you got right. We're throwing for the flowers.
I mean, he had 2 RB. He started the game and ended the game with an RBI single.
Right.
And that's what you ask for. I mean, he had 2 Ks in between, but it is what it is.
Look, and we're throwing flowers, but let me ask you, Al, your thoughts on Christopher Sanchez. I mean, I just saw, if you saw my tweet the other day, I just think, to make this pitch and rotation a little better, he needs to get better with his pitch selection. I mean, it's all it is sinker and changeups. I mean, there's no fastball, and they're starting to get caught up. Like, this was his pitch selection last year.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to get a little better.
Christopher Sanchez, I'm not worried about him.
I mean, I saw that game Friday, and it was
Spencer Turnbull didn't have a great game yesterday. Especially coming off those first 2 games, keeping up that all season long would be nearly impossible.
But you saw Matt Strom yesterday with 5 straight Ks.
Yeah, but you also saw Matt Strom get wild at one point. It's baseball. It's 162 games. It is a game based off of you get 30% hits. You did good that year. So we got to take all that into consideration. I'm not really worried about Christopher Sanchez. He's continued to do well. He's continued on from last year. Remember, he came in June, so he had all June, July, August, September, and not much in October, but was able to continue and keep going as it is. If your 4th and 5th guy get you 3 or less runs and keep you in the game, then you're doing a good job. That's what you want. You couldn't ask for any more. Right. Even with last night's kind of not great start for Spencer Turnbull, he kept it to 3 runs or less.
Yeah.
And that's what you asked for your 4th and 5th spot.
And he had different, some pitch selections. He had a fastball. He threw, mixed in with some, sinkers. He didn't have too much of a command on his fastballs, though. I mean, they were kind of low. Again, they were hanging where guys were, able to hit them. Was it run the 5th inning? 5th inning is that when Neil Cruz came up and just crushed it deep to left.
He's a big dude. He's 6'7".
6'7", and of course you're like, he doesn't look that tall.
You can reach out and you could take a ball that would be way outside for somebody and hit it like normally. I mean, if he uses Nick Castellanos' bat, which is huge, on top of that wingspan,
that's a big boy right there.
Boy. Schwarber is turning some Ks into singles. Steve, here's the thing about power guys. People forget, if you just stop swinging for the fences all the time, things that would normally be, outs for, not as strong people, go bloop into the outfield. So, you could definitely see those kind of things. Let's see, hit a couple of these. Sales chiming in. You can see Schwarber put in the work, slim down, taking a lead off hitter's approach, hat tip towards him. Speaking of Sal, by the way, little programming change as well. We'll update it on the social media. So I was on the call on Monday, but actually, our boy Salvatore will be doing his first
solo
fight in this final. So,
whoa,
guys, tune in for that. Show Sal some love and support.
My guy,
Matty B. Let's see. Here we go. Phillies have struck out 138 times in 15 games. They have left 104 runners on base. They're 29 for 114 in runners in scoring position. Streaky with a zillion question marks.
Yes,
they are. Because, when this team is hot, then that number will start to come down. They're going to have strikeouts. A team that hits like them are going to have strikeouts. But a lot of the strikeouts were coming from Nick Castellanos. A lot of them, let's talk about Mr. Bryce Harper. I mean, I'm not worried about him in the long run, but outside of
what's
that
he swinging at?
One of that, yesterday.
Is he trying to play cricket?
I don't know. Like, somebody asked about glasses about him earlier. But, I mean, he had 3 Ks yesterday.
Right.
He walked because a Chapman couldn't. It was worse than he was at that time.
Yes.
They probably looked at him and said, Bryce, don't swing. You can't hit the strike zone. just walk. Like that's probably what they said to him.
I mean, he's still up there for one of the top. 11 hits, three home runs, three second doubles, and 7 RBIs. I mean, like you said, I know it's early on, and with Kyle Schwarber, like you mentioned, 15 hits so far, 3 home runs, and 9 walks. I mean, he's off to a start. Corey, what's up, dude?
Yeah. Keep it in the mic, Pat. You kind of trapped.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They couldn't hear you.
Let me stick it in the. Oh, here we go.
Bring it down if you need to.
Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Put this thing right here. So Kyle Schwarber, 15 hits, 3 home runs, and 9 walks. Again, and Bryce Harper, though, 11 hits, 3 home runs, 3 doubles, and 7 RBIs. And right now, Brandon Marsh is still leading the stats. So for your Fighting Phils, 14 hits, 4 home runs, 9 RBIs. But yeah, his strikeout ratio is still high, 18.
Angry Ant's hatred for Nick Castellanos greater than Mitchie Poo's hatred for Tobias Harris?
That's a good one.
Phillies are overrated. Angry Ant, he's a Mets fan.
Oh my gosh, he woke. What side of the bed you woke up on? It obviously the wrong side.
Not freaking out about Harper just yet. They're actually off to a better start than the last 4 to 5 years. Yeah, no, they are. I mean, they had that. I think they swept the Braves. They went like 3-0 or 5-0, I think, in 2022. But that was it. Other than that, they usually are down right now. I mean, they were much down. Yes, they're off to a better start. We asked them to be better than last year. They're better than last year. Like, I mean, again, 162 games. Harper's rocking the eclipse glasses. You can't see through those things. Yeah, that's what it seems like.
So let me ask you. I mean, Friday was the debut of those jerseys. And I'm seeing more positives than negatives.
People are definitely growing on some people.
It's still not. Like I said, I think they made a mistake. I think they made a road trip to the Crayola factory, threw something at the wall. They said, "Let's
look
try
like
it."
Brewers alternative jerseys, or not our color scheme. I get it. I understand the whole.
But I
get. Hold on. So I get the Connect jerseys aren't going to be the same color scheme, and you kind of want to get away from them. That's the whole point. What I would like to see, and tell me if this is wrong. Would this be the a slap in the face if a Connect jersey was like a Eagles color based jersey or a Flyers color based jersey or something that played homage to the other teams?
Then no, I think I would be okay with that.
I don't know. I'm going to ask people that question.
I think I mean if because you're like you say you're kind of supporting the other home teams in your city, so I think if they start to wear orange and black or blue and red, the Sixer colors. Can't waste another Zach Wheeler year.
You can't waste another Zach Wheeler start.
Yeah.
No, he needs to get a W just for him. It's just because he's been pitching so well, and makes me feel a bit more comfortable with this.
He'll be on the hill today.
Yeah, so that's what we got to find out. But the jerseys I'm still not in love with. I do like the hats, though. I would rock the hat.
Do you like the hat?
I'm okay with the hats being different color schemes. I really am. I'm okay with that. I do. The hats have grown on me a little bit. I like the symbol. The symbol's cool. The color scheme for a hat's cool. I'm not a big fan of the jersey. I don't like the font. It's one of the things that kill me so much are the font. I mean, the number 7 for Trey Turner looks like a weird light bulb.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the Jacksonville Jaguars colors. It's weird.
I don't like the pants on the New Jersey, Corey's saying.
Yeah, I don't think the pants match the guys. I mean, if you get a chance to see Gary Stroman's reaction to...
I'll have to check that out on Twitter, yeah. Mets wasted DeGrom on a regular basis. Let's hope they don't start doing that with Wheels. So, Shitty Connects, City Connects. Bryce Harper needs to go to Island and prepare Ricky Vaughn glasses to see the ball.
Yes.
The home warden's checking in for me. Hi, babe.
Wow. Okay.
All right. What's up, Dawn? I love. Dropping 6 scouting reports for the 2025 NFL Draft this evening. Yes, guys, stay tuned for that.
We have a busy
on
day
YouTube.
today.
But also, I'm going to be putting it out in a newsletter form as well, and be scattering it throughout other social media throughout it. See, 6 and 9 start in 2022, 5 and 10 start in 2023, 8 and 7 in 2024. So yeah, overall they have improved. We asked them to get out to a better start. They are delivering. It might be not as pretty as we hope. And it just goes to show you, like, they're 8-7. And I mean, you started off against the Braves. You're playing against the Pirates, who are a good team right now. The Reds are
You played against it,
not
right?
a bad team either right now.
You got the
And
Nationals.
you're 8-7, and the team hasn't been clicking on all cylinders. Not all teams have been playing as well as you
Right.
would hope. So,
And this is
not
still
all
early.
players have been playing as well as you hope. So that's kind of a positive in the feather cap, even though all the stats that Matty B did throw at us just recently.
And listen, it's still early. The teams have yet to figure it all out. So give it some time. Like I said, they're starting out pretty good. Let's keep let's ride the high horse. Let's get a W today. Al, did they get the W today?
I think so. I think Zach Wheeler's going to finally get that elusive W that he's been missing for the other 3 starts he had. I think they'll come out tonight. I'm hoping to see a little bit more bat action tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing is Bryce Harper's pissed at himself. He made a comment. He goes, we're going to lose games. Games are going to be too close when our 3-hole hitter is hitting like he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about himself in a third person, but taking accountability. So wouldn't be surprised to see Bryce Harper take a little accountability and maybe a little more plate discipline right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if Bryce could get just come back to full circle, I think he might be your player of the game because he's been just been so bad as of late. So I think he'll have I'll say he'll have 2 hits. I think he'll go yard, and I think he'll have a double. I think that's fair.
I'll take a double and a homer today.
Yeah, I think that's and I think Wheeler will wind up with 7 Ks.
I'd be interested to see if Cassie can continue on.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's going to go 3 for 3 or 4 for 4. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about generally just hitting consistently and not swinging wildly at everything. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, we'll see what happens. But Al, I got to ask you, what's the meal of the day, buddy?
I'm actually going to the Great Media Comic-Con this afternoon.
Really?
Friends of mine run that and taking my kids. My son, my 8-year-old, who and I are big Ghostbuster fans, and he's taking on the mantle for his father. Said, Dad, back in December when it was announced, can we build me a cool Ghostbuster pack?
Oh, awesome!
So we took one and we painted it and made it look pretty cool. So it's all got lights on it now. So he's super excited. So we're going to be doing that this afternoon. So I'll be eating junk food off a truck, I'm sure, today because they have some of the best food trucks coming.
Really?
So I will be partaking in quite a few.
So I'm going to go imagine you're going to go hot dog.
No, I mean, they have everything.
Oh, really? So it's more like a catering.
It's like different food trucks. So it's going to be interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't even know where I'll be. I'll report back to you on that one, Pat.
Well, that's great. But listen, before I give you my meal, listen, guys, I want you guys to stay tuned.
Pasta. There you go. Spoiler alert.
No, I'm totally doing something totally different. It's just going to be baked
lasagna.
Yeah. It's not
throw a real loop there.
Yes. But look, I want everyone to stay tuned because we have a lot of coverage today. We got a Sixers post-game show today here on the EOP. We have a Phillies post-game show. We have a Union post-game show today. We have and of course, double G, double M, double S, all across all the time.
Is it double? Is it
double down?
Double G, double S, double M, and BS.
And BS, yes.
When you're on.
Yes, it's full BS.
Yes.
Or AKA the bully.
Yeah. Oh, you're the bully?
Yeah. That's my media nickname.
Pat,
now.
You're as maniacal as a box full of kittens, bud. I hate to bring it to you. Real bully you are.
Yes.
The only thing you bully is a box of pizza.
Yeah. Hey, don't you worry about that.
Yeah.
I can swallow. I mean, anyway.
All right, moving on.
Yes. But anyway, listen, guys, I want to say thank you so much. This has been a great hour. I didn't realize the time.
Hour and a half, bud.
Oh, wow.
And also, real quick, before we head out, I want to remind you that Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue, great bar to go to, hang out, be at Dolan's Bar. But the best day to be there is May 25th. We'll be there in-house. We'll be announcing and live streaming this awesome yearly event they put on. It's Wiffle Ball Mania at Dolan's Bar, the Dolan Spring Classic. Mickey Morandini comes back, and this man takes his wiffle ball seriously. But he's bringing John Kruk, that's right. former first baseman for the Phillies, and current TV analyst John Kruk will be on. Will be at Wiffle Ball Mania at 24 East Sellers Avenue on May 25th. So check it out.
Yes, check it out. Listen, that's going to be that's going to be a fun time.
Oh, I can't wait. It's one of my favorite times of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned. Again, Sixers post-game show, Phillies post-game show, Union post-game show. We got a lot going on today. So,
other than that, nothing happened here at EOP. And don't forget all the stuff that Dive is dropping for the draft. It's going to come out hot and heavy. Start watching so you guys can go in front of the water cooler and seem like the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Just because Dive, Shane, and all those other great draft analysis that we have here, bar none, the best out there.
Yes.
Tell me anybody does it better, I'll
they
call
eat
you a
and
liar.
breathe college football.
Yeah. All right. So other than that, Pat, take it on home.
All right, guys, we are out of here. And sorry,
you just barked at me. What the hell was that?
Well, that was I spent 2 weeks in Harrisburg. I mean, I picked up a little.
Pat, somebody stepped on Pat's tail. Somebody stepped on your tail in the midst of that.
Yes, we are out of here, guys. Thank you so much, and catch you guys later on.